Mr. Riley, I didn't really want those gentlemen. All right, Mary, I'm going to find my holder you. Answer with 100% by yourself, because
Oh, you mean? Yeah, that could be fun. Second. Kiss the bread. Gotta take the water now. Bill Biden, number one on the. We gonna get all. Oh,
Welcome back. You can have your seats. We're going to turn our board questions. And the two races on the ballot that you have to vote for, actually, there's three races. One is unopposed. Terrence Jones is on the ballot for that one. That's not here tonight. The next is place 4, I believe, is Bill Jefferson and Mike Riley on the ballot. And the other is place 3. We have Gloria Rio, we have Robert Williams, we have Patty Harris, and we have, if I could see you later, I'm kidding, window. We have 4 candidates for place 3. So we're going to follow the same snake format. We drew snake snort, however we want to do this. And we will go Davidson, Harris, Rio, Williams, and Jefferson. And then as each question comes up, we'll rotate around. That way everybody gets a chance to ask one question. For the candidates, I heard during the last session that some of the candidates, I don't need a microphone, but if some of you could speak up just a little bit or lean in, make sure that this end, now we don't have to pick this up. The ISD has great tech equipment, but just make sure it's close to you and you're speaking, directing yourself. I did notice a couple of times candidates would turn their head and you'd lose the sound a little bit as they turn. When you're a shy little flower like me, your voice carries, but not everybody does. So let's make sure the most important thing is for you guys to be heard, not me. So we will start off with our 3-minute opening statements, and we'll start with Mr. Davidson down on the end. You tell us you got 3 minutes. Our timers are up on the screen, so you can follow along, and you'll hear a chime when we stop. But if you'll start with 3 minutes, introduce yourself and tell us why you're right.
Thank you. First, I want to thank the school district for hosting this event. I do appreciate it. Allowing us to come and introduce ourselves and tell them about ourselves. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Wendell Davidson. I'm a lifelong resident of Prairie. I have deep roots in the community and strong commitment to public service. I was born here at Platters Hospital, so old people know where that was at one time. I was graduate of Prairie High School. My connection to the district spans decades, these generations. My 4 children attended Prairie ISD, and now my grandchildren attend Prairie ISD as they continue that tradition. I currently hold a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and I have nearly 2 decades of public service with the state of Texas. My current position is I'm a lead investigator with the Texas Health and Human Services Commission, Office of Inspector General. My current role is I investigate welfare fraud, and I ensure taxpayer dollars are spent wisely, and they're not misused for fraud purposes. I have been in that role and been with the state for 19 years. Earlier in my career, I worked in eligibility services, determining whether someone qualifies for food stamps or not. And helping families navigate public assistance. I'm also actively involved in the local government. I currently serve as a member of the Building Advisory Appeals Board with the City of Prairie. I'm the chairman. Previous to that role, I served on the Zoning Board of Adjustment and Appeals, as well as participation in numerous bond elections here in the school district, and served on the District of Innovation Committee here with the school district. Throughout my career, I have focused on bridging the gap between leadership and frontline employees. I believe effective leadership requires understanding the real challenges faced by those who serve the public. I I commit to fiscal responsibility, accountability, and ensuring resources are used efficiently to support students, staff, and the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Next up on our 3-minute opening statements is Patty Harris.
I'm Patty Harris, running for Grand Prairie ISD trustee at large, place 3. My story begins with my parents. My mom was born in Laredo, and her first language was Spanish. When she entered public school at 6 years old, she was punished for speaking Spanish. So she, as a small child, made the decision to stop class. No child should ever be put into that position that made them not feel like they fit in. The teachers called it the way that it makes them. So that's the era she was in. My father grew up in an abusive home. At 16, he lied about his age and he joined the Navy because he believed there had to be a better way of life. Not many teenagers have that kind of courage or tenacity to rewrite their future as a teenager. From them, I learned resilience and responsibility. That's why I believe so strongly in public education. Schools should never silence a child or limit their future, because every child deserves a chance to be heard and have a real opportunity to succeed. A funny thing is Gloria, Brian, and I shared a student's test story. Brian taught her in the 4th grade. Gloria only calls me when she's asking for money for donations or scholarships. So one of the times I said, Gloria, at the beginning of these scholarship winners a job, and she gave me a name. All right, that young lady has worked with us at the driving school for the past 4 years. She just graduated from Texas A&M University with an engineering degree and several job offers. At her new job, people are already calling her the boss. She enhanced her customer service, critical thinking, problem-solving skills with us in a real-world environment. While we share this success story, she did not graduate from GPISD. At the driving school, we had a dozen students further their education past high school in our student-friendly work-study program. We have never been approached by GPISD community outreach for student internships. It's a missed opportunity. We have plenty of students that could benefit, and small businesses would benefit from similar community partnerships.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. Oh, I'm sorry. You have eyes. Good. Okay. Next up, the introduction, Ms. Gloria Creel.
Good evening. My name is Gloria Jaramillo, and I am your trustee, place 3 at large. I was married to Mr. Francisco Carrillo for 50 years. We have 3 children who all graduated from South Prairie High School. All of them have attended university, and all of them are in professional positions. I am the proud grandmother of 6 children. I have 2 grandsons that will be graduating this May with degrees in finance. One of them will be graduating from the University of Oklahoma, and the other one, the University of North Carolina. And my youngest granddaughter, Madeline, is a freshman at UT Austin. She will be studying at the London School of Economics this summer. So we're really excited and really proud. For most of you that know me, know that I have been working in this community for many, many years. And Patty, thank you so much for your story. I do approach Patty, and I approach a lot of other you with reference to assistance for scholarships, because that is a huge challenge for us. This year, on this May, we will be awarding $54,000 in scholarships to graduate students. And this is from all of our high schools. We've awarded over $500,000 in scholarships through the Hispanic Association for Culture and Education, sponsors, volunteers, and people that want to help us, because we want that child. What happened to me when I graduated from high school, I was told by my counselor, when I went in to talk to her about an opportunity for the future, she said, a girl that looks like you does not go to college. So I want to make sure that any young lady or any young man that approaches us will be able to go to the university. I work with the GPISD with a program called Legal Pathways. We've had many interns come through our office, And we're so excited that the majority of these kids are getting Stephen and Meyer scholarships, Education Foundation scholarships, and two of them have been valedictorians at Prairie High School. So I'm very, very excited to be a member of this board. I was elected in 2017. In 2022, during my tenure as president of this board, GPISD was awarded the Mackenzie Scott $16 million grant. This grant and the funds have been aimed at enhancing student services, supporting staff, and, all kinds of wonderful things in our community. So I have served under 5 superintendents. I started out with Dr. Simpson, Linda Ellis, Tracy Ray, Dr. Jorge Apadamboni, and now Dr. Bendo for you.
Thank you, Ms. Bria. And for place 3, Mr. Robert Williams.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Robert E. Williams Jr., resident of Prairie, Texas since 2007. Married in 25 years. My beautiful wife who was here tonight, as well as have 2 daughters. Both of them had the privilege to graduate from school. One graduated summa cum laude from Prairie Fine Arts Academy. And my youngest daughter, who was a junior at South Prairie High School, is on that same track. So I have a vested interest in our kids. As a father, I've seen what happens at high school. I've seen the negatives and I've seen the positive. One of the reasons why I'm running is for the safety not only of our students, but of our teachers, of our administrators. How will we make that happen? That comes from the school board listening to you. We are your voice behind those doors. That is the only way that change happens. I am the change agent. I worked for the American Airlines for 35 years. My background has been in customer service, has been in finance, has been in headcount allocation, and currently now I deal with alleged discrimination complaints where when I have to speak for the passengers, that passenger cannot speak directly with the representative they interacted. It's my role to be that person's voice in our room where they are not present. As I mentioned before, that is the same with the school board. It is our role to be your voice, but only if we have open communication with each other behind the closed doors to get across the information that you have sent to us. So again, my name is Robert E. Williams Jr. I'm running for Prairie School Board at our place 3, and when you go to vote, if you don't remember the name, just remember I'm number 1 on that.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Now this takes us over to District 3, and we have Mr. Jefferson. You have 3 minutes. Tell us who you are and why you're out.
Prairie, it's District 4.
District 4, my bad. But you did write 2 4s here. You got position 4. I've been corrected. The only person here making mistakes is me. Now I'd like to turn it over to District 4, Mr. Phil Jefferson. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I didn't intend to be sitting here tonight. We lost a dear friend, and we lost a mentor, and we lost a trustee, Nancy Bridges. Tragic, yeah. Just a few short years ago. And so, her family calls me and asks if I might consider her legacy, and continue with her work. And after some thought and prayer and permission from my wife, I signed up to run for District 4. And the Bridges are special people, and we arrived in Grand Prairie in 1986. And the Bridges were one of the first families we met. And our youngsters were the same age, went through high school together, and so we're just going to miss Nancy. This evening, my wife Kathy is here, and I have two children. I have one that is a science teacher at a college that is an attorney. I have a son that's a superintendent in Burleson, and I have a daughter that is KM room, and she works for the district, and that's my family. I've had an interesting career. I've been in central administration for right at 40 years. And I spent 19 years in the Prairie and got to do some wonderful things. We passed 5 bond programs and we got to build a lot of mid schools. Worked with some of you to actually put those together. I was here for those 19 years, and then maybe in a week more, I was invited to go to Dallas, and I went to Dallas and worked on 2 large bond programs, and was getting ready to retire, and I was invited to go for Grapevine Colleyville, and I spent 5 more years there, and I retired from Grapevine Colleyville. And then the phone started ringing, and somehow I became a consultant. And I've had a wonderful, storied opportunity to travel, and I've worked extensively for Tyler ISD, for Highland Park, and other districts. And it's just an honor to be here this evening and visit.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. And now we'll go to the questions portion. From the magic bucket of questions. Now then, I'll hope for brevity here. See what we pull out. This first question, you'll have 2 minutes to respond, and the candidates will answer in the following order: Ms. Harris, Ms. Carrillo, Mr. Williams, Mr. Jefferson, and Mr. Davis. Our first question of the evening for the school board candidates is: what can you do as a school board member to illustrate the value to parents and community leaders about the value of a GPISD education? And we'll start with Ms. Harris.
That's a really good question. So over the past decade, GPISD stakeholders have experienced an environment that does not always help teachers teach or students learn. As trustees, our job is ethical governance. Our first priority is to focus on student outcomes. The board has adopted measurable goals for literacy, math proficiency, college, career, and military readiness. Half of every board meeting should connect goals to the budget decisions to the board goals. That does not happen in GPISD. Another priority is financial integrity. Stakeholders should never question if their taxpayer dollars are being spent responsibly. Ethical practices, independent audits, and transparent reporting prevent controversy before it starts. Merit-based employment. Our district supports about 140 uncertified individuals requiring a waiver. Our students are not in school to provide on-the-job training to adults. Board conduct. After a vote is taken, trustees must move forward in one voice. Board comments are not the place for campaign promises. Superintendent oversight, not trustee micromanagement. Hiring the right superintendent is the most important job in the decision that the board makes. GPISD is now blessed with an outstanding and instructional leader. I've invested my time, talent, and treasure in public education and district governance training because I believe GPISD can do a better job educating our students. As an at-large trustee, I represent every student, every campus, and every taxpayer. We need to reduce the drama, fix what matters, and focus on our student outcomes.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. Ms. Frio, same question. Would you like me to repeat?
Yes, please.
All right. What can you do as a school board member to illustrate the value to parents and community leaders about the value of a GPISD education?
I think GPISD does an incredible job of educating our students. My agenda has always been our students, our teachers, our staff, and our entire community of Grand Prairie. Grand Prairie recently had a graduate experience. the women that we had that experience, we had over 3,000 young people that came through the terrible rain. And all of these kids came because of the programs that we had, the innovative programs we have. We have so many, our CTE program, our Fine Arts program, our Mariachi program, our Ballet for Poor programs, our the gaming positions. We've got all kinds of programs that the best vision that we've got at Prairie Hospital itself, the Vista. We have all sorts of programs, our culinary arts programs that our students are to our trade program. We have so many programs. We have so many outstanding students. We had an incredible year in 2025. Our students earned over 13,000 college credits. We received over 6,800 industry certifications. 9 out of 10 of our students were going to college. Our career military readiness, CCMR educators are incredible. Last year, GPISD graduated over 2,200 students. Our kids earned over $63 million worth of scholarships in Grand Prairie. So I think that our school system is doing an incredible job in our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Britt. Next up is Mr. Williams. Would you like to repeat?
Yes, please.
What can you do as a school board member to illustrate the value to parents and community leaders about the value of a GPISD education?
So if I'm understanding your question correctly, is specifically asking what can I or school board do to illustrate to parents the success of Grand Prairie schools, the value
of doing GPISD versus some other
correct
option for education.
So let me answer that specifically. How can I help illustrate? Because that was the question.
Okay.
The main thing is marketing. We can show all the stats. We can say Grand Prairie has these excellent students. But who hears it? Yes, you in this room tonight. How do we market that to get to Grand Prairie? The best way to do that is to do social media. Develop a social media team that's specific focus is on marketing the success of students and the success of Grand Prairie Public School. We do have, as Gloria mentioned, we do have the one major event, the Grand Prairie experience. But after that major event, what else is there? How do we market to build up to that event? It has to be something month after month. So there's something constant about Grand Prairie Public Schools. And that's how we illustrate the success and the value of the degree from GPISD. We have to let people know our story. If they don't know our story, we're just talking to each other.
Thank you, sir. Next up, this question will be Mr. Jimerson, who, by the way, I have a very good authority is running for District 4. Mr. Jimerson, what can you do as a school board member to illustrate the value to parents and community leaders about the value of the GPISD education?
I've referenced my remarks with, I had 2 graduates from Prairie Hospital. I started those youngsters very well. Proud of them. Went on and received multiple degrees, and it served them very well. As I look forward to value, I think it's important that we put students at the forefront of every decision that's made in the district. That's the way we're going to prepare the leaders of tomorrow. Certainly, we want to support the teachers and staff and provide the respect and the resources needed to succeed. And then we have to work hard to provide the funds. And we need to do that with transparency and long-term planning. The experience is a great event. It's been very successful over the last few years. I'm thankful that we have that because that event that signs up that night sends new applications into the district to the total of about 3,500 each year. I think that's wonderful. The schools of choice that are in Grand Prairie started with Dr. Susan Simpson. There's a lot of districts following that model, but they begin right here in Grand Prairie, and I think we all should be proud of that.
Thank you, Mr. Jemison. And last one, this question is Mr. Davidson. Would you like me to repeat?
Please.
What can you do as a school board member to illustrate the value to parents and community leaders about the value of a GPISD education?
Well, like it was said a while ago, I think we got great programs here. We have great leadership. We do good with the experience. But one of my goals would be, as your elected trustee, be to strengthen career readiness by partnering more closely with local businesses and the Chamber of Commerce through internships, apprenticeships, and real-world learning experiences. Students should graduate not only prepared to go to college, but also equipped for practical skills in the workplace to provide a more productive workforce should they decide not to go. Like I said, I think we got great programs here. I think we got great outreach here, but I think we can do better. And I think some of the programs, we need to be on the forefront of technology and innovation. We need to be continuously innovating and re-looking at or reviewing, for lack of a better word, our current programs to see if they're meeting the needs of students or whether we should be seeking out additional programs or new programs of innovation. Thank you, Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. This will take us to question 2. Again, you'll have a 2-minute response, and our order of answers will go Ms. Prairie, Mr. Williams, Mr. Jemerson, Mr. Davidson, and Ms. Harris. And that second question is, makes me nervous when it's more tiny paragraph. Applications for the 2026 Texas Education Freedom Accounts, ESAs, closed on March 31st, 2026, with over 274,000 applications submitted for a $1 billion program that far exceeds the amount set aside. How can GPISD capitalize on the reality that not everyone who is applied is going to be approved to receive vouchers? And we'll start off with Ms. Priya.
I'm not in favor of vouchers. I'm here to put our advancement to our public school system. I believe that our public school system is under attack in Washington and in Texas. Our legislature has not increased in funding for our schools since 2019. So that is a huge, our schools have all sorts of problems like declining enrollment. We started having declining enrollment during COVID. Our district has lost 3,500 students. That's a loss to our district in funding of right at $21 million. So our legislature and our government in Washington are not doing anything to help us. We have to come up with ideas. I know that our district is coming up. We have aging facilities. So our district has come up with a comprehensive consolidation plan. And that's going to maximize the effective use of our staff, our financial resources, and our facility assignments that will meet the needs of our students, our staff, and our families. So there's a lot of things that we can do here in our district in order to continue to have the success that we have in our school district of Brentwood. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rio. Next up, Mr. Williams. Would you like me to repeat?
Yes.
Applications for the 2026-27 Texas Education Freedom Accounts, ESAs, closed on March 31, with over 274,000 applications submitted for a $1 billion program that is set aside. How can GPISD capitalize on the reality that not everyone who applies is going to be approved to receive vouchers?
Good. Thank you for that question. So the school vouchers were first initiated. State of Colorado, specifically in the Denver School District, they were at a deficit of over $10 million because of the school vouchers. What they found out, and what we're finding out in the state of Texas, that the majority of the students and families receiving those vouchers already paying the public school. What a lot of people do not realize with vouchers is that if you have a child that goes to a public school, and you make a contribution to that school, now that's a cash write-off. So how does Grand Prairie address that? Through the programs that we have with the schools, we have to make sure that those programs are accessible to all students, not just to one specific campus. That's how we get parents not only to see the value in Grand Prairie public schools, but to want their kids to go there. So they know if they live on the north side of Grand Prairie, that they have the same access to programs that's available on the south side of Grand Prairie. So that's what we speak to parents about. That's what we speak to students about. Asking the question, why do you want to go to a different school? And based upon that answer, as a school board, then we have to address that question of how we can attract that student and that family to remain within the Grand Prairie schools.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Williams. Same question. Now we'll go over to District Jefferson. Again, District 4. I'll repeat. Applications for the 26-27 Texas Education Freedom Accounts, ESAs, closed on March 31 with over 274,000 applications submitted for a $1 billion program. How can GPISD capitalize on the reality that not everyone's going to be approved to receive the vouchers they applied for?
It's my understanding that vouchers are for private schools. And there's a tremendous disparity just with that statement because there's no attendance requirements for private schools. There's no oversight from the state for private schools. There's no financial accountability for private schools. I've been told that there's no testing requirements for private schools. And yet, we're taking our local taxpayer dollars and sending them to the tune of, I believe, $1,000 per student that goes to private schools. I'm of the opinion that playing field needs to be leveled. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jefferson. Next up on the question is Mr. Davidson. So I can repeat, please. All right. Applications for the 26-27 Texas Education Freedom Accounts, ESAs, closed on March 31st, 2026, with over 274,000 applications submitted for a $1 billion fund. How can GPISD capitalize on the reality that not everyone's going to be approved to receive the vouchers they applied for?
Well, I too am not a fan of vouchers. I do not support vouchers. I support public education. I do not believe that taxpayer money should be taken from the taxpayer in the public arena and provided or given to a private entity or religious organization for a private school. I think one of the ways where everybody ISD can capitalize on that, and I think they've been talking about it, but they haven't made a really tremendous movement on it, is create a virtual campus. Because not everybody wants to go and sit in the classroom all day. Some people they learn, on a computer or a hybrid model. And so I think Prairie ISD can capitalize by going ahead and moving forward with that virtual campus. And we can capitalize on that by retaining and getting the ADA funding that I could do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. And Ms. Harris. All got it.
Schools, my children were raised in public schools. So I don't believe in vouchers either because it takes away from the common good so every child can be taken care of. I want to remind people that Susan Simpson invited the charter schools in to Grand Prairie, and now they're trying to deal with what's happening to the public schools. If the parents don't see the value in GPISD, then they're going to these other options. So we have to be bringing them back. Yes, we've got programs. Yes, we've got special interest things going on. It's like, if we're not reaching the parents, then, you know, they're going to keep going.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. We'll move on to question 3 out of the magic bucket. And that, the order of questions is going to go, see, it looks like a big piece of paper, but it's a really short sentence. Will be Ms. Williams, Ms. Simpson, Davidson, Harris, and Correa. And this question, our third question, you have 2 minutes to respond. Describe the achievement gap in the district. What causes it and what can be done? First one will be Mr. Williams. Describe the achievement gap in the district and what causes it and what can be done.
Good. So I'm gonna look at the achievement gap. Let's just look at grade level statistics when we look at students. So if you look at reading and writing per, they say 6 on one hand and does it a lot in the other, because 52% of our students at the high school level are reading the grade level above. 48% of the students are reading below grade level. So we, as a board, we need to develop a plan, and maybe it includes outside interests or outside marketing of a company to come in and really do a true assessment about our curriculum and how we can advance. What are the best practices for grade levels K through 12 to address reading deficiencies? What are the best practices in other school districts that have been successful in bringing together that achievement gap where year by year the percentages increase to decrease that gap? So as a school board member, we have to think outside the box. We can't look at what we've done traditionally. Because if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. For our students, they deserve better. So we need to look at new ideas. We need to look at outside the box ideas. And we need to look at other districts and their achievements and to see if we can bring those within the Grand Prairie to remain successful.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Jemerson, you're next up on question number 3. Describe the achievement gap in this district and what causes it and what can be done about it.
We talked earlier about private schools, and we have charter schools, and we have Grand Prairie ISD. In Grand Prairie ISD, we take all children, no matter their economic background, no matter their wealth, no matter their abilities. In Grand Prairie, we care about all students. The mobility rate in Grand Prairie is substantial. We have some poverty, and those kids move sometimes several times during the school year. There's a lot of reasons for that, but it's mostly tied to dollars, and it might be tied to rent payments or paying electricity. It might be a job, but that mobility rate changes the outcome for those youngsters. So they may be at Austin Elementary this 6-week period, but they may be down at Bowie the next period. And the problem with that is when they move, is the scope and sequence going to be beneficial to them? So that's a challenge from my perspective because of the mobility. The economically disadvantaged, I think the proper term is ECD. Is that correct? I believe that's right. And each campus has different needs and resources. So my question is, how do we support the needs at each campus? They're not all alike. They have different youngsters with different needs.
All right, next up is Mr. Davidson. So let me repeat.
Please.
Describe the achievement gap in this district. What causes it and what can be done about it?
Well, the last grade the district received, and this was closing the gaps, was C. To me, that's not sufficient. We need to be a B or better. I think one of the things that causes this achievement gap is not only, like Mr. Jefferson said, with poverty and economic disadvantage, but these students that need extra help in the classroom either have to come before school or after school. And I think, and the district is talking, there's words about this too, but they haven't moved forward with it. I think they should this next school year. I heard they're going to wait another year before they do it. It's like it's being done in the and they're doing a block schedule. When you have 90 minutes in the classroom, the teacher can get up, present her lesson and instruction, give her students that are not having any disadvantages or not struggling in the classroom, get those students on task, and then she can come back in the back of the classroom with a group of students who are struggling and do targeted interventions with those students for the rest of the 90 minutes. You can do that real good with a block schedule. You can't do that with a 45-minute schedule. You can't sit down with those students, get one-on-one instruction like you can with 90 minutes. So I think going with a block schedule, I think will close those achievement gaps a lot more and will increase our overall district test scores from a C to a B or A. I really do.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Next up, Ms. Harris.
So in December, I was invited to go to Florida ISD to do the training for the board of managers. There were like 100 people invited. My presenter was A.J. Claville, who used to work with TVA, and he's considered the godfather of governance. And from what I learned, I was just shocked because I have a public school background and experience in the classroom and raising the kids. I had never seen what he pulled out for this 2-day training. The scores from Grand Prairie mirror what Fort Worth has going on. They're just a bigger fish. What's going on in your kids' report cards is not a reflection of how they can read and in numerical fluency. A pretty report card does not mean your kid can survive and leave your house and be able to get a living wage. In fact, it was just very eye-opening about what's going on. Because from the classroom perspective, I know I was told as a teacher, this kid needs to be pushed on, and we push him on and we push him out, and then they can't take care of themselves. You know, I get them coming into the driving school, and they go, oh, nobody told me. It's like, I'm not going to sit and ask every single question to you. You need to have some critical thinking skills and be able to survive once you get out of high school. So it's just from the governance training, this is what TK is looking for. And this man came to DeSoto, and during shutdown, he helped bring their scores up by focusing on student outcomes, not on the adult inputs. All the stuff we're doing is not making the kids be able to function and walk out the door of Grand Prairie ISD.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. And last one is question, Ms. Rio. Describe the achievement gap in the district. What causes it? What can be done?
There is an achievement gap, and what Mr. Jefferson indicated, it said if we have a high mobility, we have a high, we are a Title I district, which means that we are economically disadvantaged. Our district speaks over 42 different languages. So there's some disparities there. There's some problems there. I know that our district is working hard to bring that district from a C to a B. I know that we are. I know that our teachers are working so hard. And sometimes some of those teachers approach me because the data that we live and battle with, they're so stressed about that. Sometimes they feel as though instead of teaching to the students, that they're teaching to the test. And so I know that there are disparities. I know that we're doing all that we can, and we have to make sure, as Mr. Williams said, that we have the same resources for every one of our public schools, for every one of our campuses. We cannot have resources in the southern part of Grand Prairie that we don't have in the northern part of Grand Prairie. So our district is working hard in bringing our scores up. The fact that we have the high mobility situation with our students, and we see it every day. We have one of our challenges is we provide food, we provide clothing, we provide all sorts of resources. We have groups that provide backpacks and school supplies for our students because the parents thing. So I applaud our teachers for the commitment that they make. I know that the results will be a lot better when our reports come out. I know we're working hard to overcome any disparity in bringing with our students.
Thank you, Ms. Correa. We'll now move on to question 4. The order on this one will be Mr. Jefferson, Davidson, Harris, Correa, then Williams. And this question is, what are your budget priorities if elected to the GPISD School Board? And we'll start with you, Mr. Jefferson. What are your budget priorities?
As most of you know, we have a deficit budget. We have had it for a number of years. Generally speaking, 85% of the dollars for school district go to salaries. Typically, around 5% goes to utilities. That's easy math. We basically have 10% for what do. That's serious challenges in regards to budget. We need to find a substantial way that we can save dollars. Also, when we look at refinancing bond debt, get better interest rates. One thought is we have multiple properties that this district is not using, and in some cases have not used in 1 or 2 cases for 40 years. Those properties are on the tax rolls. Many of those properties were bought this fall. We're going to need schools in certain areas. And that's not materialized over the last 30 or 40 years. I'm of the opinion that the board needs to take a hard look and possibly decide if these properties are surplus and put them on the market and sell them. That means they will go back on the tax roll. And many of them are wonderful properties that are available for development. There is no telling the potential development on some of these larger tracts of land. And once that development occurs, that's going to be a great deal of more funding to a school district. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jefferson. Next, Mr. Davidson, what are your budget priorities if elected to the GPISD School Board?
Well, bottom line, we're in a deficit budget. You either have to, when you're facing this, you either have to increase your revenue or cut your spending. So it's got to be one or the other. My goal is with this virtual campus, you can increase your revenues by getting more students online and getting that 80-day funding from the state. So the more students you have, the more money you're going to have. And so that is one way to increase revenue. Selling property, that's a good way to that's a one-time savings. Once you sell that property, you don't get to reap that benefit again. You sold the property. Number 2 is maybe go in and make some partnerships like Susan Simpson did with some of these charter schools and tell them, say, hey, we'll let you use our curriculum. We'll count your 88 and we'll get your 88 funding and you can use our curriculum at MOI. Memorandum of Understanding agreements with these charter schools. That's another way you can get funding. There's multiple ways. You got to think outside the box. But those would be my priorities. And then also go in line item by line item and see where we need to save money responsibly. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next up, Ms. Harris. What are your budget priorities if elected to the GPISD School Board?
Okay, so I worked in Dallas ISD for 3 years. I was there during the Dallas Ebola crisis. Our campus had a lot of refugee students, a lot of mobility, 60-something languages on one campus. It was exciting. So I still have some contacts in Dallas. And I reached out to them because Dallas ISD has been pretty good. And I asked, it's like, how are y'all working on your budget cuts? And what are you doing? And so the word that I got, the only safe jobs in Dallas ISD are the teachers and the principals. Drawing your own conclusion. So maybe some of these people that got moved out of the classroom, need to get back into the classroom. But if you're so good at, teaching what you were doing, you need to come back in and help bring up the scores. But I think that's what, if we lost 3,600 students, how can we lose an adequate number of, adults at this point? People need to retire. People need to move on. So the focus has got to be the classroom. That's the only option.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. Ms. Carrillo, on question 4, what is your budget priorities for the GPISD School Board?
GPI's annual budget is $394 million, and 85% of that budget is for staff. 85% of that is for staff. Challenges that are faced in our district are our aging facilities. Some of our schools were built in the 1940s, so we have high maintenance. We have facilities that are not up to par that it should be. I feel that with this comprehensive compensation consolidation plan that our superintendent presented to the board recently, that we will address some of those issues. But we're paid, our district is paid by attendance, and that the students are not here. We don't have that money. I stated earlier that we lost 3,600 students, which is nearly a $41 million loss to our district. So we don't have a lot of wiggle room. If 85% of our budget goes to staff, we've got 15% left for facilities renovation and all of that. So those are some of my priorities, is that our facilities are safe for our students and for our staff.
Thank you, Ms. Carrillo. And last on this question, Mr. Williams. All right, what are your budget priorities if elected to the GPISD School Board?
So, folks, this is actually one of my 5 pillars that I have on my platform, which is proactive planning and transparency. My goal regarding the budget and finance is that we develop a 3 to 5 year triggers that we can reflect back on, so we know if we're looking in the future. So we knew that we were losing students. So at that point, when that realization was known, we should have started planning for a budget deficit. For us to have a budget deficit now, some of the parents in the community only finding out about that, they should have found out that 5 years ago. So that's my number 1 goal, is to look at the previous 4 to 5 year budgets and then develop a plan and develop triggers that the board can use moving forward, so we can know in advance and plan for such a budget deficits. The next thing regarding the finance is Prairie is growing. The city council candidates spoke about the number of houses we have, the number of new apartments. So now we have to plan 5 to 10 years now financially of how we're going to educate those students. That is a trigger. When there was a proof for those apartments to be built up, that was a trigger that we needed to make adjustment. And we don't all need to get rid of people. Okay? We don't need to get rid of teachers or administrators. There's a way to reassess through the budget. What is the need? Where are we spending our money? That is the first thing we need to look at before we ever look at what's coming on.
Thank you, Judge Williams. And here's what we're going to do. We got one more question. I'm going to pull out the magic bucket. Each of you gets 2 minutes to answer. Notice how we've done a different person answering first each time. So I got to ask my 5th question. Then we'll do 2-minute closing statements, and you maybe. We all got through it. I just, hey, at this point, when I can pronounce all the words.
How do you say high school sports?
Oh, good? Oh, no, I'm kidding. All right. The order on this one's going to go Mr. Davidson, Mr. Harris, Ms. Harris, Ms. Carrillo, Mr. Williams, and Mr. Jefferson. And the question is, do you happen to know the approximate per pupil spending is currently on students in the GPISD? Do you feel this is an appropriate amount, or should it be higher or lower, and why? We're going to start off with you, Mr. Davidson. Sorry, it's not high school sports.
Okay, is that from state level to the district, or what the district spends on the state?
Forgive me, I have a number here that in 2024 was $10,389, and in 2025 it was $12,121.
Okay. I think that number is inadequate. I think those numbers are old numbers. And I think they need to be increased per pupil. To educate a child, this don't take more than, what you say, 15?
$12,121.
But now it still take more than $12,000 to educate a child in a year. We need more money from the state. The legislature sets the state budget, and they determine what school districts receive as far as funding per pupil. And so I think that's here again. I think that's one of our issues. Is years ago, we had a guy here named Bill Crabtree. And when the legislature was beat, he wasn't in Prairie. He was in Austin. He's fighting for Prairie and Prairie schools. That's one of the things we need a voice in Austin. I think we can get there by having junior being elected from Prairie. But, before that, we had elected a Carlisle Smith listening for years. We had a Bill Arnold. We had people from Prairie elected down in the legislature who fought for our schools. And that's what we need. We need more spending per pupil, not only Prairie, but across the state. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Ms. Harris, and we'll streamline this. We'll start with 2025, $12,121. Do you feel this is an appropriate amount spent per student? Should it be higher, lower, and why?
Different students are weighted differently in the funding that they receive. So one of my children was handicapped, and it's like I would go back to the school when they're asking for things for him for services. It's like they didn't even keep track of how much funding that he was receiving just individually because he was special ed. So when you have the speech and the physical therapist and all the different entities that are building in, I mean, a regular kid running through is not getting the same value as somebody that needs all this extra support. So it's not enough. And I don't know how much GPISD actually does per student. So.
Fair enough. Ms. Carrillo, same question. Higher, lower, and why?
We do not receive that good funding. And as I stated earlier, we have not received an increase. And the other districts in the surrounding area or even the state of Texas have not received an increase from the legislature since coming. So definitely we need to have more income now into our district. What we're getting is not adequate. We're getting $5,000 to $6,000 per student. That's what we're getting here in our district. And the last go around, I think that you got an increase of something like $60 per student, which is, and that is that we do get different amounts for special needs that our students have. So what we're getting is not adequate. It is not. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carrillo. Moving us on to Mr. Williams. No, I can repeat the way. I'll put extra numbers on it and do whatever you want.
So, before I can truthfully answer that question, it goes back to planning the transparency and revealing what is exactly in our cost. If 2025 was $12,125, what exactly does that cover for each student? And we have to break down that initial cost to get the raw and to get the raw and true numbers. Also, what impact is it having on the student? Is it impact the teachers? How is it truly impacting the student? So once we realize what the impact of a student is, then that's how we fight to get more. That's what we deem is necessary after breaking down exactly what's needed. It's too simple to say we need more money. Just throwing money at an issue is not necessarily the fix. So next year is $18,000. How is that $18,000 being spent? Is it more than $18,000 that a student needs? Or is it less? We don't know until we look at what that amount covers and what the necessary need is for an individual student.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Jefferson.
This will be a short answer. So, I do know that most districts get somewhere between $5,800 up to $6,400 per student. Now, the analogy to this $12,000, I have no knowledge about that. If I'm allowed to be on the school board, I will look. Maybe I'll learn that in short order, but I do not know about it.
Fair enough. I appreciate your candor. That gets us through the questions out of the silly bucket. We're putting that need to wait till next year. Yeah, the county. I'm now going to ask the candidates to give their 2-minute closing remarks, and in order this will go Ms. Harris, Ms. Carrillo, Mr. Williams, Mr. Jemison, and Mr. Davis. So ladies starts off. Ms. Harris, you have 2 minutes for a closing statement.
Okay, so I have 20 years of classroom teaching experience, most of it in algebra and then with special needs students. I was also in special ed and really got tired of doing art paperwork because I didn't see a single child that got smarter by doing art paperwork. When we moved to Grand Prairie, I know the city council and the school board have to work really tightly together. The city did not let us open a driving school here. We were able to open in Arlington. Arlington was much more business friendly. All right, when we were finally able to open in Grand Prairie, it's like the only reason I started doing driver's ed because I didn't make enough money with 4 kids as a single parent teaching algebra. And so I had my full-time job of doing driver's ed and then it became a full-time job, thank God. All right? We need people from all over the world coming to the Metroplex. So what goes on in Grand Prairie doesn't just impact us, it impacts all of Texas. Because it's pretty darn embarrassing when you don't have the state come in to Fort Worth. And then I discovered that our scores mirror Fort Worth ISD, and you have to have the state come in to try to fix things because we can't keep doing things the same way we've been doing them. My baby is getting married right the day after the election, so I'm more excited about that. We're going, oh, is she going to have a baby? Do I want to put that child in Rosemary ISD? There better be some telling around with the order on my baby. My grandbaby, Rosemary ISD. But it's like there's been too much of the drama. It's played out in the media. It's negative. It impacts economic development, which hurt all the good things that the city have been doing. I mean, it's embarrassing. Right now, it's like we're blessed. The superintendent has a clear vision of academic goals. He's got stated guardrails with community values. They've done the work. You know, we're ready to move forward, but we need financial transparency because I don't know when they're calling for my tax dollars, where is it going? Because I get more information sitting down here during closed sessions from the other people's audience.
Thanks, Ms. Harris. Ms. Carrillo.
I'm a product of public schools. My children are products of the public schools. My grandchildren are all from public schools, with the exception of my oldest who went to school in China for a couple of years. His parents were in Suzhou, China. So our district is facing some challenges. We're facing competition from districts adjoining districts. We're facing problems with reference to our financing. We're facing problems with reference to our aging facilities and budgetary constraints. So I want to thank Chamber for allowing us to be here this evening. I want to thank all of you for being here with us. I have a track record of working in this community, not only in raising scholarship dollars for Grand Prairie students, but in many other nonprofits. So I have a track record of working and a commitment to this to the community. And I feel that that commitment and it's this house, I'm hoping that you will select me on May the 2nd. So I ask for your vote, I ask for your support, and I ask you to continue helping me so that we can help other students. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Korea. Next up, Mr. Williams, 2-minute closing statement. So,
So you just have me quit. For folks, I thank you for coming out this evening and for the opportunity for all of us to share our visions with who are elected as school board members. I'd like to ask everyone a question: expectations. What are your expectations of us as school board members, and how do you express that? Through the years, pre-COVID, because we know there are a lot of changes with COVID, what were your expectations at that point? For 2026, what are your expectations moving forward? If your expectations pre-COVID are your same expectations in 2026, that means there's been no growth within the Grand Prairie School Board itself. So just think about that. We're at a critical time. We talked about a budget deficit. We need a board that is cohesive and a team. So I'm originally from Texas. I know majority of people here are probably Dallas Cowboys. So picture this, it's 21. There's a lot of discussion going on what flavor we want. 41 on the design to make it to food. The offensive line comes together and says, we want to be the black one. We want to get that across the goal. But in order to do that, they have to be cohesive. Now picture, we're the board, a cohesive board. And instead of Dak Prescott, this is students and their parents. You want to represent you. I want to represent you. To get our students across that goal line, to get the parents across the goal line, to get the community across the goal. Again, my name is Robert E. Williams Jr., running for place 3 at large, running for a school district. And if you don't remember my name, just remember the number one. Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Williams. Now over to Mr. Jefferson. Your closing remarks, please, sir. 2 minutes.
Thank you. I have what I call a little push card, and back in your left-hand corner, and it gives some positions that I believe in. The first one says student success. Put students at the forefront of every decision so GPISD prepares the leaders of tomorrow. I believe that's the most important thing we have to do. I had the opportunity to take CEE credit, and I took a class about 3 weeks ago for government certificates that's required for a board member their first year. And it was eye-opening. It was challenging. It was inspiring. It was focused on student outcomes. That's what we ought to be interested in, student outcomes. High expectations for students start with high expectations for leadership. I affirmed my belief in 3 points, and I said that I believe decisions must ultimately be grounded in data on what works for students. In other words, we've got to measure it and we've got to monitor it. The second one that I affirmed, I believe in ensuring the achievement gaps should be a central responsibility of the school board. I believe that's our responsibility and will be mine should I be elected. The third is, it's the superintendent and administration's role to plan and execute strategies to accomplish the goals.
Outstanding, sir.
Let me close with one thing, and I apologize, but this was on I-30 as I was going to Dallas yesterday, and it's a billboard and about where you take a right to go up to Prairie High, and you need to take a look at it. And it's a large billboard, and it says, "Kids have potential. Teachers unlock it." I think that speaks it all. We need to support our teachers.
Thank you, Mr. Jemison. And wrapping it up for us, Mr. Davidson.
Again, Chamber of Commerce, to the Prairie School District for hosting this event. You know, I agree, you know, it takes experience. You know, I come to you with almost 2 decades of public service. You know, I want to continue that public service by being elected to the board and being your representative. I've been going to school board meetings, ever since Mr. Clinton was on the board. You know, last years ago when they were up on College Street. You remember them days? You know, I served on multiple committees here, bond committees, district of innovation committee. You know, I know how this district works. I think I'd be a valuable liaison from this district, with the Chamber of Commerce, the local business here. I foster partnerships and leveraging expertise, from the businesses with making important decisions that affect the district and the community and taxpayers. You know, I think, teachers, they need support of the board. You know, my goal as your elected trustee would be to ensure that they have the tools, the training, and support needed to succeed while working to improve student achievement. I would work to improve student enrollment and retention, making Grand Prairie ISD the district of choice for all families in Grand Prairie ISD, because I believe in Grand Prairie ISD. I think it's the best district there is. Even though we have a seat, we could be better. And with elected me as your representative, I think we could get there together. So vote for me on May 2nd on the 3rd slot for position number 3. Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank all the candidates, both school board and city council, for being here tonight. Congratulations to you, the audience. Good news, guys. And so the hard work's over. You made it. Rather than the 23 days of campaigning you still have to do before election day, but this part is over. I want to thank all of you, and I want to thank you all for coming out tonight, making it through this, and I encourage you to vote for the candidate of your choice.